It's 22 minutes after 8 o'clock, and of course it is time for our After 8 conversation. So shift gear from the politics of the day so far to just talking about our human experiences, our life experiences. And, you know, we've got, and many of us at least in South Africa, or at least those that can also afford to have the extra help and extra assistance in the home, we hire domestic workers. We hire domestic workers because our work schedules just does not allow for us to be at home, at work, taking care of kids, cooking, cleaning, all at the same time. And a lot of us have got a deep appreciation for our domestic workers. I have a deep appreciation for my domestic worker because I understand how much she comes in and makes my life and my home a little bit more easier. But then there are domestic workers who come into our home, into our places of safety, and meet people who genuinely want to make the working relationship work because they value. And unfortunately, what ends up happening is that after some time, the people that we brought into our home end up being the narrators of our horror stories. So this evening, we're talking about helpers who harm. Helpers who harm. And if you are an individual who has a story about a helper who has harmed, I'm talking about serious harm, please give us a call, drop us a voice note, because I think it's imperative that as much as we praise the good helpers and domestic workers in our lives, we need to be careful of the ones that are harmful and dangerous, because they are there. They are there. They come into our intimate spaces and they can do harm. So let me welcome into this conversation Eunice Adams. Eunice Adams is a resident in Eldorado Park, and Eunice has got a story that will make any woman just, it's a nightmare. But Eunice has got a child who was abducted by the nanny. Eunice, much appreciated for your time this evening, and welcome to Metro FM Talk, and thank you so much for agreeing to share your story with us.
No, it's only a pleasure.
Maybe, Eunice, let's start from the beginning, right? So I believe that it was in 1989. You had twin daughters,
yes.
In fact.
Twin daughters. Yes.
Twin daughters. Let's take it from there. So you give birth and you have these twin daughters.
Correct, yes.
So what happened then? You know, so was the helper with you, or did she join you after you came home with the twins?
Okay, the helper wasn't with me. She only joined me after I gave birth to the twins. Mm-hmm. It was about time that I had to go back to work. And in fact, a friend of mine, when I spoke with her, and she said to me, "No, don't worry, I've got somebody. I don't need a helper at this point in time, but I'll ask that person to come and help you." Mm. And that's exactly what happened.
As we always do, as we all do, we get a helper from sometimes a referral.
Yes, yeah. Correct, yes.
Yeah.
And that's when Beauty came to work to take care of the twins. As I mentioned before, that I had to go back to work.
So you were at home for how long, Eunice?
About it was 3 months or so after the babies were born that I went back to work.
All right. So you done your maternity leave, and of course the demands of the family meant that you needed to go back to work.
Correct. Yes.
Gotcha. And when you met Beauty comes. Tell us about the day you met Beauty. Tell me about what was going on at the time.
It was on a Saturday morning. I was busy doing the norm, like washing and all that. Mm-hmm. My friend came with Beauty, and she said to me, Beauty was recommended by her gardener. And like I mentioned before, that she didn't have any need for a helper at the time. And Beauty, when I saw her, she looked quite presentable, and I said to her, no, it's fine. She can start working for me from the Monday.
How old was she?
Beauty must have been in her late 20s, early 30s when she started working for me.
Okay, late 20s, early 30s, eh?
Yes.
Got you. And then?
When I asked her about her identity documents and so on, she said to me, no, she worked in Chatsworth in Durban, and as soon as she goes home, like Easter weekend, she will come with her documents. And I trusted her, I took her word. But unfortunately, before Easter weekend, she disappeared with my baby.
Let's go back to after Easter weekend, or before we even get to she disappeared with my baby. So Beauty had already started working for you. She came on the Monday, right?
Yes, on a Monday.
And that's when she met the children, the twins.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so tell us about that now. So she's working, and tell us about the day that she actually took your daughter. So she's working at home. What was going on that day?
Yes, it was on a Monday morning. I was at work. And normally my brother, out of habit, he stays about a few streets away from me. He used to work night shifts. And he'll always pop in to come and see if everything is okay at home. So this particular Monday, he came, and it was around about 10 o'clock, just before tea time at work, when I received a call I must come home immediately. I was under the impression that one of the babies was sick or something happened. I just left everything, and a friend of mine brought me home because at that time I was working in Springfield. And when I got home, the house was in disarray. And my second eldest daughter, Melissa, was 5 years old at that time. And Melissa, the neighbor's helper, came and she said to me, no, she heard the children crying, and she came over and she took Melissa with her. And that's when my brother came and he phoned and he said, I must come home. She took some of my clothing, and it was so strange. She didn't even take any of the baby's clothing at all. And we started looking around, and then my brother said, no, we must phone my husband, my late husband. And he came home, and we went to the police station. In fact, before that, we phoned the police and so on, and they gave me that story and that story and that story. And eventually, a friend of mine said, no, why don't you go to the police station? We went to the Extension 5 police station, and we said to them, listen, this is what happened. And they said to me, no, I can't report her as missing because they only allowed to open a docket after 48 hours.
For a baby?
And yes, that's what they told me.
Sure.
And maybe she just for a walk, or she took it to the park or something. I said, why, if there's twins, why only take the one and not the other one? And I found a friend of mine, my father's friend. He was also in the police force, and he said to me, no, that is not the way they should handle this case. And really, they eventually he gave me Foster Square's number. I phoned Foster Square. They said to me, no, we've got to go to a Protea police station. We must phone them and ask them to send somebody. Eventually they came, but believe you me, they didn't take any fingerprints or anything, and only they rather took me back to Extension 5 police station, and we opened a docket there. And in the meantime, the children coming from school said only the next day they said to me, you know what happened? We saw this lady struggling to carry the case that she took and the baby, and they wanted to help her, and she refused. she said to them, no, she don't need any help, and she got onto the taxi. And that was the last that we've heard or seen of Beauty.
Eunice, what happened to your child? Did you ever find your child?
No, up until today, we've been traveling all over, and up till today, we didn't find Veronique as yet. We had all the leads that we followed up. The last time we went to Botswana, because we also received info from a lady in Botswana, and she said to me, listen, my daughter's school, so the child that looks exactly like your daughter, because the article was in the Drum magazine at the time. We went they took a blood test and all the DNA tests and things was done. And when we came back, I was waiting for the results, but we never ever got that result, because a friend of mine was a policeman, and he wanted to know how far are we with this matter, only to find out a week later that the detective who was doing the case, he died in a car accident just a week after we came back from Botswana. And up till today, we haven't had any results, DNA tests and all that. Nothing was ever said about it, because I followed up. They couldn't find the documents. In fact, it was a second document that we opened
in Botswana.
When we came back from Botswana, that was the second docket that we opened. The first one also went missing, because I clearly remember the first docket, Inspector Morrow. We had Veronique's face on the milk cartons those years. And there's one guy from Lenasia, not Lenasia, from Chatsworth in Durban. He saw the picture and he read the story and everything. And he said, he found and he said to me, now, that very same lady worked for him and she robbed him of whatever she could. But luckily he had a picture of her ID.
Oh, he had a picture of her ID.
Yes.
Where was she from? Was she from KZN, Eunice?
She said to me she's from Pietermaritzburg when she started working at my place.
But where was she from?
I can't say, because she had different stories all the time. And even the gardener, Detective Morrow and them, the gardener was... They also brought him in. He was in custody for one evening because they couldn't keep him there at the time. That he just went for questioning, and he also said he also didn't know her. And that was not the only time. There was another lady from Lenasia South. She also phoned me and she said she gave her the same story about the ID. There was a farmer from Walkerville. The same story she gave him, because they all contacted me and they gave me the same story. So, yeah.
What is? I'm gonna be. What is? Because I mean, sure. My hope is that your child is alive and as well. What is her name? Veronique.
Yes, Veronique.
Yes. And how old was Veronique when you last saw her?
They were just about to be a year old. 11 months old.
She was 11 months old when you last saw Veronique?
Yes.
Sure, Eunice. I And there's no way that we can follow up on the case till now? Do they know what's her name again? Beauty Mkwanazi.
That was the name that somebody found and gave me that name and surname.
Beauty Mkwanazi.
Yes, it's correct.
And do you still have a picture of Beauty?
No,
People don't disappear. They just don't vanish into thin air, especially with a child. Do you have a photograph of her?
No, nothing. Like I said, she made sure that she left no trace at all. All the people that she worked for, the lady from Lenasia South, the people from Walkerville as well.
Sure.
No pictures, nobody had anything. The only person who had it was this guy from Chatsworth.
And he had a picture of her ID.
Yes, and he gave it to Detective Morrow. And like I mentioned before, that docket also disappeared. That's why I had to go and open up a new docket.
But you've got the photo now. Now of Beauty Mkwanazi, you've got that photograph from the ID. It all just disappeared with the docket.
Yes, with the docket and all.
Yeah. Sure, Eunice, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that...
Yes,
I'm so
that's
sorry
why I'm
that
always maintaining somewhere there's something very fishy going on.
I hear you. We need to take a break. Let's take a break. I'm going to bring in Mbali Hlapo, who runs a nanny agency. And I'm going to take some of your voice notes as well. I mean... Eunice had a helper steal her baby. Till to this day, Veronique is missing. What about the helper who's harmed you? Let's talk. Castle Double Malt brings you the extra smooth express ride through sunlit scenery with rich flavors, mellow sounds, all to tell the story of our smooth. It is the kind of journey our schedule secretly wishes for. Make sure you listen to Audiogasm this week on Audiogasm, that is Fridays between 7 and 9 p.m. and ensure you have your phone ready, and when you hear the extra smooth express train sound in a song, you simply send us a voice note with what song? Your name and your surname. Let me repeat that. A voice note with what song, your name and your surname to 060-552-7303, and you could win weekly CDM hampers or the ultimate prize of golden tickets aboard the Extra Smooth Express, an unforgettable experience of music, cuisine and more. South Africa, be sharp, not for sale for persons under the age of 18. Visit castledouble.malt.co.za for more information. Castle Double Malt, extra smooth. It's 43 minutes after 8 o'clock. We're talking about the people that we bring into our most intimate spaces, our home, that end up doing us harm. Whether it's a nanny or the domestic helper or the domestic worker or the helper that you bring into your home to assist with either taking care of the kids, helping you with the cleaning. The helpers that harm. I'm not talking about the helpers that are amazing, which they are. But I'm talking about the helpers that harm. And let me get into conversation, bring into this conversation Mbali Hlapo, who runs a nanny agency, Mbali, and a domestic worker agency as well. Mbali, much appreciated for your time this evening, and welcome to Metro FM Talk.
Thank you so much for having me, Faith. Thank you.
Mbali, maybe let's talk about this. It's unfortunate that this is not the first time we hear of these stories. As much as they're good domestic workers, but unfortunately there are horror stories that come into the fold. Let's just talk about some of these stories that, as an agency you've heard about, that we can warn people about this evening.
Firstly, I would like to say I'm sorry for Umama for losing her child. I'm truly sorry. There are excellent domestic workers or housekeepers out there, and also there are ones that are scallions. They're actually at your home to get something, So I would highly recommend that whether you're getting a referral from someone who referred to you, a housekeeper, or maybe you're taking her from the agent or wherever that you're taking her, we need to make it a point that we vet them. And the best way to vet them is to have reference. I know that sometimes it's taking time with your salibelu phone and asking references and all that and tracking where she's saying that she's staying at 556. In her SARS letter is the 556 day. Also the references. Where has she worked before? How long did she work? Why did she leave? Even if you cannot find the recent previous maybe employee, you need to find maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago, because tracing someone is highly important. some people are there to just make it a point that they are stealing, actually. I had one of the stories where someone came in as a sleep-in. She worked nicely for 3 months. After 3 months, why did this woman was alleged that she took everything? Because of the transport driver. The transport driver normally would hoot and then she come out and take the child. Now he would for maybe 30 minutes. Now she called the parent, Mama, are you at home? No, Auntie is at home. No, there's no one at home. When they come in, the house was to let.
It was
only
clean.
Left the remote control. Only left the remote control of the gate.
Sure, Bali. I mean, you know, when Eunice even shares a story, the pain, the absolute agony and pain that she is going through is just, it's something that I would never wish upon my worst enemy. And unfortunately, these people do come into contact, and a lot of people, families, they get a helper so that they can, especially after a new baby, or especially after babies have arrived in the home, and if even news reports are anything to go by, the very same helper that comes into those intimate spaces, we've even seen footage of the helpers beating the baby up.
Yes. And also what we need to do, maybe one weekend, take your time, whether the helper is coming from 3 hours drive, take your time, drop the helper there, so that you see where is she coming from. In the future, you might never know you will need to go to that address. The more you know, the better. The more information you have of your helper, the better. Because not to say that we're not trusting our housekeepers, we trust them. However, your security is more important.
And you're saying whenever you can, just on a random day, take your helper home.
One weekend, you're driving, Sissy, are you going off on leave, on off? Yes. Let me drive you. Might be 3 hours drive, might be 2 hours drive. Take that time and make it a point that everyone is okay.
And make sure you've got a copy of their ID. And now it sounds like make sure that you've got a copy of their photograph as well.
Yes. Copy of the ID, copy of the photographer. And also, I know that now we're going extra, but we need the SARS letter. The SARS letter will give us the correct address. They might change the address. Maybe they are now staying somewhere, but that address is the original one.
I hear you. And Mbali, I appreciate it. We're going to take some voice notes as well. Listen, we're going to take some calls. Wow. It's horrifying. It's actually horrifying. Let me take some voice notes.
Sometimes you find it's not just your domestic workers, you find it's your gardening services as well. Any form of domesticated service tends to pose a risk at the end of the day, because I know I had an experience with my gardening services and not realizing that the gentleman actually came to do a bit of recon work. And then about 2 weeks later, I had a couple of things disappear in my yard. It only dawned to me when I needed it. And then I realized, and subsequently, the gardening services also seized and the person was non-existent or they were nowhere to be found. So it's not just your domestic workers that you welcome into your house. It's also, like I said, all forms of services that you render, your gardening services, So you have to be wary. Sometimes we tend to deal with very nefarious characters out there.
Hello, Faith and Metro FM listeners. Listen, I don't know if this thing goes along with this topic, but I also brought people into my life and they caused me harm, a lot of harm. I'm a musician and I have a studio and I live in a place called Jugu Lane in Soshanguve, and you know this place is notorious. So what's happening is I always bring people in my house to record, and for me they are my customers or client, should I say. But at the end of the day, on the 10th of last month, they came into my house. The very same people came into my house, stole all my equipment, everything that makes a studio, the computers, the laptops, the mics, everything.
I'm sorry that happened to you. No, it's not the helpers that harm, but I do take your point around people that come into your personal space and take advantage of the personal space as well. Nomsa and Joburg, I need to take some bulls, but I'm coming back straight to you, Mama. 52 minutes after 8 o'clock. We're talking about helpers who harm, and some of the stories are absolutely frightening. Nomsa in Joburg, let me start with you. Good evening.
Evening, Faith. Thank you so much for taking my call. I think you still remember the issue of Uhuru when she phoned you and my identity theft.
Yes.
In my case, Faith, my helper was in a syndicate which was organized by the police officers in Benoni and in Springs. My house is number 10 Kualina Daily Park in Springs. The baby in question was Uhuru. Uhuru was kidnapped, Faith, as a baby, and this woman's name said she was Helen. She was from Zimbabwe. Mm-hmm. But this woman was working for the police and the police to come into the houses and look for a job for employment. As a nursing sister, I had to go back to work, and she came in to assist me. My mother had passed on to look after Uhuru. I think that's where our nightmare started. Sure. My identity theft and the killing of my mother for insurance was not done by my family member, was done by the police in this syndicate. To date, me and Uhuru are living a life of painful life. You remember the last time Mr. Rapati said he was going to assist us. Instead, our house was burnt down, Faith.
Oh, no, man.
Our water was cut, Faith. We were threatened with Uhuru. As I'm speaking with you, we're sitting in a house which has no running electricity. Uhuru hasn't been to school. We've learned to accept that if we live a day and we're still alive, we have to praise and thank God for that.
Nomsa, to me, could you just do, because, I mean, you told us the story, I mean, it was like last year.
Yes,
and we were supposed to really, and I want to follow this up because it's just, your story is absolutely, like, it boggles my mind. Can I ask that you just give some of the details to Busi, my producer? Busi will follow up, and because I've also had a shift in producers as well, so things did shift a little bit, but we will follow up that story because we really need to drill deep as to what exactly was going on with you. Because of that case of identity, there's so much here that we need to unpack, and I want to get the relevant people to focus on your story. Will you do that for me, please? I know that we had a couple of changes, but please give Busi your details. Let's see how we can follow up on the story and not leave it unsolved. Please, can you do that for me? Thank you so much, Nomsa. Thank you. I appreciate it, and thank you for reminding me about it as well. Let's take some more voice notes.
Hi, Faith. I just want to say what a great show you guys have. Like, your shows are greatly informative because we just had a new kid and we're looking for a nanny. So the shows that you guys have on Metro are very informative. So I just want to say thank you and appreciate what you do and your research and everything that you guys do to prepare these shows for us to be informed. And then I just wish for the lady that's on the interview today that she really finds the baby, because this is really, really tough. Yeah, just to say thank you for this informative show. It's very scary, but thank you very much.
Good evening, Faith. Good evening, Faith and the team. Ash, I've been listening to the story, the lady Eunice. You know, as a parent, that's very, very, very painful. It's a wound that will never end, a wound that will never get healed. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, seriously, I don't know. How can somebody steal thing, baby?
I hear you. And I hear you. I don't know. Eunice, I know that you have not given up the fight to find your daughter.
No, I'll never give up.
Yeah. And what kind of assistance has been given so far, and we need to help you find your daughter, or somehow somebody needs to help you find your daughter. And it's sad because the last time you saw your daughter, she was just 11 months old. So she's a grown woman now. She's a woman in her 30s.
30s, yes.
She's a woman in her 30s, Eunice. Late 30s even.
Yes.
What would you like to say to your child?
I'll tell her, whenever I look at Misha, then I'm thinking about Veronique, and I'm thinking, what type of life is she living? But we love her, and we're waiting for her, and we know I'm always praying to God that He mustn't take me before I've seen Veronique. And I'm sure God isn't unfair. He will allow me to see my daughter before I leave this earth.
I pray that for you as well, Eunice. I pray that the blood of your daughter, or the blood of your veins that is in your daughter, will find you again. I do. I pray that your child finds you. She's a woman now, which means that she's capable of finding you. She doesn't need her mother. I hope that the blood in her veins is able to identify home, or find, or calls out to you, so that you are both united. I really do. That's my deepest prayer. And thank you so much, Eunice. I thank you so much for sharing your story. I really do hope. I pray that the blood of your daughter locates you and finds you. And Mbali, when people are listening to this, they don't think that helpers or the people we invite into our homes can go to the extreme that they even take children. And unfortunately, it is the case, as we've seen here. Let's go through again that list, a checklist. When you are getting somebody new into your home to help you, what must we check for? And what is a red flag? Mbali?
Hello, Mama.
I'm saying, when we invite people to our home, what must we check for, and what is a red flag?
Okay. You need to, number one, check the references. Maybe two previous jobs that she worked for. That is number one. Number two, know her family. I know sometimes it takes too long to know her family. Where is she coming from? How many kids? And who is she married to? Know her family and know her address. Go to her address. You might not, you know what, and when we do vetting, you need to be transparent to say that a helper, I need to vet you and know who are you and where are we going, because this is a long-term thing. Number one, you check her address, previous employers, and number two, her kids have her ID, her copies, her pictures. Most of the time, her pictures. Red flag is when she's just jumpy when you're talking about dropping her off, asking her about the kids, her husband, her parent. Those are the red flags. And number two, know her friends. The close friends that she have. You need to know at least one or two friends. Whenever she's on the phone talking to who, that is number three. The most important is to know her family. Check the red flag. Are you dropping her off? Is she jumpy? Is she relaxed? And when you're telling her that this is important, we need to know you, because she needs to know the step, or if you are vetting her. Is she jumpy there? You need to know that's a red flag.
Got you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much, Mbali. Eunice, my prayer once again, may the blood of your daughter locate her mom. And I hope she's alive. I hope she's well. I hope she's healthy. I hope she's a phenomenal woman. And I hope she finds her mother someday soon. Very soon. I have to leave it here. I leave you in the wonderful hands of Paul Mtechacha, is with you all the way until midnight. And you can have lots of fun as well. It is a Wednesday, which means it's Clash of the Acts. And until you and me talk again. Bye-bye.